Hi, welcome to this new video, and for this week's video I want to present you a new way of organizing your assets in Hubspot, and especially workflows and lists. If you're dealing with a Hubspot portal with a lot of different workflows, it can be hard to instantly find the workflow you want to work on or you want to check if there is any issues. Hubspot gives us a possibility to create folders, so we can organize them based on the different aspects of your business. But if you're working long enough on Hubspot, you realize that most of the time you will forget to add it on the good folders, and even with folders, you might end up with 30 different workflows on the sales folder that will not help you saving any more times. The idea of what I will present you today is to force a healthy Hubspot portal by forcing people that create workflow to organize it seamlessly. And to do so, we have a thing that is unknown but really useful, is to put in place a create workflow form. So you go to settings, you go to data management, objects, and we go all the way down to see workflows. And here we have two options. We have the manage workflow properties and customize the create workflow form. So what will happen is we can click on create a workflow form, and every time you will want to create a workflow, Hubspot will show up this specific form that you will need to fill to be able to create your workflow. The thing is, a form is filled with properties, and natively you don't have any property besides the name that you can use to create a specific form. So we need to create those properties to organize our workflow environment. We will come back later. First thing we need to do is to create those properties. But what kind of properties? It will mostly depend on your business operations, but I can think about three different properties. The first property we can create is the type of workflow. So what do I mean by type of workflow? Is what the area of operation this workflow is concerned about. So if you go to file type, you can choose a drop-down select, and it can be a workflow related to marketing or sales or operations, services, data management, or either data generation, if you create data through automation. So first, we decide what kind of workflow it is. Then the second property you can create is what I call durability. So same, we create a new property. And what do I mean by durability is some workflows are meant to be on during all the lifetime of your Hubspot portal. Some of them, they are here to be just a one-shot when you want to clean some bad data, and you clean your data through a workflow. It's you activate it for one minute, and after you can turn it off. And some workflows, they are meant to be turned off after a certain period. It's important that we can store this information within this workflow properties. So this time we want to radio select because it will be smoother in the form to see, and we can call them evergreen. This workflow is not supposed to be turned off at any point. Defined period is supposed to be turned off after 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, and is what I call one shot. It's just supposed to be turned on once, and once the data is clean, we can turn it off. So we can create this property. And the last property I like to create for my workflow is actions. We can select the group automation workflow again, and it will be a multiple checkbox because one automation can do several actions. And for the different actions, we can think about sending communication to leads, sending internal communications, modifying properties, creating objects, dealing with third-party tools integration, and generating new data. And once you've done that, you can click on create. Why is it important to have this information? It means that when you want to clean the workflow you don't use, at least you can see exactly, okay, if I turned off this workflow, it will impact the communication and send to my leads. Or be careful, this workflow is creating new data. I want to check what's inside to make sure I can turn it off or not. So once you have your different properties, of course, you can add every kind of property you want for your form. It depends on your business. I just give you small example. You can go back to your workflow settings, and we can use those properties to populate or create workflow form. We click on create, and we can add a property, and we just want to add the name, the type of workflow, the durability, and the action. We can save, and then we go back. Good thing about it, now, if we want to create a workflow, we click on create from scratch, from blank, and we will not be able to create our workflow before filling this specific form. So let's say I want to create a workflow that will automate the sending of a lead magnet. I can name it ebook first email sending. It's a marketing related workflow. It's evergreen because I want it to last as long as this ebook is promoted on my website. And the action, it will send communication to leads. It will also modifying properties because I will tag this lead as received this specific lead magnet, and it will also generate new data because I want to time step this specific action of the lead. Once I do that, I can click on next and I'm ready to work on my workflow like I did before. So now that we organize this information, the idea is we don't need to use the folders anymore. We can just use advanced filters and say, I want to see all the workflow that are related to send communication to leads, and it will appear here. Or I want to have a clear view of all the workflow that are supposed to be turned off because they are one-shots. I see here, and if there are workflows that are turned on in the one-shot part, I know that I can turn them off. So it's a new way to see how to organize your assets within a Hubspot, but I think it's way more efficient than simply using the folders Hubspot gives you. It works with workflow, but it also works with lists and other objects that you can create properties about. So I hope it was clear and it gives you a new way of organizing your automation in Hubspot. So if it's the case, don't forget to put a thumbs up on this video and to subscribe to this channel. It will help me grow a lot and I really appreciate it. And if you want to learn more about properties and workflows, I created 2 free private web pages really complete about everything I know about properties and all the workflow I presented on my different channels that you can directly duplicate to your Hubspot portal by following the step-by-step action. If you're interested by one of those 2 resources, I invite you to click on the description below for free. It was Greg. I wish you a great week and see you next Wednesday.